I am making a metal roofing fence. So I got a bunch of 12-foot slate colored metal roofing panels from Lenco Lumber. It's a local supplier around here. You can get them at big box stores too. I've got 4x4s, but treated 4x4s all the way down to the concrete. I've got brackets where they're tapped into the concrete. I use plastic anchors. I do not like Tapcons. Tapcons have been real unreliable for me. I'm taking 1x4s. I'm ripping them in half lengthwise, so we're getting like 2 inches, 1 3/4 inch strips. And then I drill down through them and I screw them on one side. Once I put my metal panels in, I'll screw them on the other side too, so you won't see the edge of the metal panels. The metal panels are going to then be screwed to these, which will give these 2x4s running along this way integrity, so they won't sag, you know, because you'll have the metal panels acting like a truss, and we'll have a border all the way around them hiding the edges. These 1x4s. The guy I'm working for is having a big problem with security in this location. Random people walking through. He wanted privacy, and he wanted something big, you know, to custom order a fence, even a chain link, anything like that. It was significantly more expensive and up to 2 weeks to get it. So I just proposed this metal roofing fencing. Here's what a finished panel looks like in my situation anyway. This is the way I've designed them. This is the back side, the non-colored side of the panels. Now, if there was more money in the budget for this particular person, I would do panels facing back to back. You know, I would have color on this side and color on the other side. They would be doubled. In the city here, metal roofing is pretty expensive. 5 12-foot panels, it was $350 or something like that. Came out to with screws, one bag of screws. This is what it looks like. It looks pretty sleek. I like the contrast personally. I have the metal panels screwed on the other side in these valleys. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, there's one. So those are little self-tapper galvanized screws, and I've got them screwed from the back side to this 1x4 here on the top and the bottom. Brackets I'm using, these were like $8 or $9 a piece. I've got these, and then on some posts I've got regular thick angle brackets. These are obviously a little more robust. They cover 2 sides. I can't put one on this side because it'll interfere with my gate. Use these plastic anchors. Nothing bites like these plastic anchors in my experience. You drill your hole, whatever size your anchor is, you really have to work to get that plastic anchor inside the hole. And then whatever you put inside the plastic anchor, you want to be really fat to where it barely goes in. Don't go into the mortar joints. A lot of people do that, and the mortar joints don't hold. Mortar is really weak. Go into the face of the brick. If you're going into concrete block, go into the face of the concrete block. Do not go into the joints. Gate is going to be here. It's going to be 40 inches wide. We're like 8 feet tall. The gate's going to open this way, kind of like this. The hinges are going to be on this 4x4, which is anchored at the bottom, and at the top I have a 2x4 running all the way across the top. So when you open the gate, this 2x4 is always going to be there like that, and that gives this whole thing added integrity so it doesn't wiggle anymore. It's really solid. It was wiggling up there before, you know, just from the flexing of the 4x4. Try to angle my hinges so gravity automatically shuts this gate. That's very important to this guy that owns this place. He wants it to automatically shut, and I'm going to try to cheat and do it with gravity, and kind of like a fridge. As far as nailing in my border, everything I've used screws on except for these little border pieces here. For these I used narrow crown staples. You can see the head. They're super long, 1.5 inch narrow crown staples, and they're very underappreciated. Most people buy brad nailers, and these are way better than brad nails. You know, they're a staple. These hold exceptionally well. You can hide the heads really well. So if you're debating on buying a brad nailer for your trim work, I highly recommend you buy a narrow crown stapler instead. You can use this for way more things. You know, you can use it to put up plywood, you can use it to put up drywall. I've hung drywall with narrow crown staples. You can use it to install paneling, trim, everything, and that's what I used to put these in, and it worked pretty well. This is how I'm cutting my steel. I just got a 4.5 inch cutoff blade on my angle grinder, and I'm cutting with my circ saw. My wood, I'm just cutting with my portable circ saw, and I'm just ripping all the 1x4s in half. This is doing a pretty good job. To cut my 4x4s, I'm just using my Sawzall. I'm making sure to leave somewhat of a gap underneath for snow, ice, drainage, stuff like that. Also, if you're doing this, highly recommend. I mean, the water really doesn't pool here. It doesn't sit here. In the winter it does. But I would highly recommend taking PVC chunks of like that half-inch PVC board and putting it under the bottom of your, if you're going to concrete or masonry on the ground like this, putting it underneath your supports, anywhere your wood makes contact with the ground. All right, here it is, all done. Finally, this took me way too long. Here's a look from the outside. Not too bad. This color looked like a slate gray in the store, but it looks brown out in the sun. And then I secured it to this pre-existing fence with big U-bolts. We're 8 feet high off the ground there. And then around 6 feet here is the door I made. I just used a regular doorknob, and I had to cut this part out of the 2x4, and then I sanded it. That looked a lot worse. There we go, I put a brick up against it, but just a 1x4 in the middle. I got these truss plates or gusset plates, whatever they're called. Then I got some angle brackets for the corners to help stiffen it up. It's still a little wobbly. Here's my doorknob. Then I got to go into this, and I got this piece of wood here, so you know there's not big cracks of daylight, and another little piece there, and then this is what it looks like on the back side. Not too shabby. I ended up adding this 2x4 here because this was a little janky feeling when I pushed on it from the other side. Probably could have used more 1x4s too, maybe 3 running across, but honestly this is good enough. Cost wise, at regular big box stores, this was no more than $1,000 in materials, $300 for the metal, and for the screws I have an extra sheet, 12-foot sheet of metal. I don't know how I did that, but I have an entire 12-foot sheet of metal left over, so I only really needed 4 sheets at 12 feet for this. The lumber was an additional $300, so we'll call it like maybe $700 in materials max. So it's around 20 feet of fence for $700 in materials, but that's with a gate, security hinges. You know, these are spring-loaded security hinges, like $25 a piece. The doorknob was $20. The brackets killed me. Those were really expensive. There's a lot of stuff you can opt out of. Like, let me see, in some situations, see how I have this 2x4 pancaked up against my 4x4 here, completely unnecessary. I could have just taken these border pieces here and went right to the 4x4. I did not need the 2x4. So there's a lot of stuff I could have eliminated and cut costs on. I could have got my metal roofing from the Amish, which would have probably been $100 for all this metal roofing. The lumber I could have got from Lenco or a smaller store significantly cheaper, and it would have been higher quality. That would have eliminated a lot of costs. But here again, see how I have this 2x4 here, completely unnecessary. For my 1x4s, I bought the nice ones that were $12 or $1 a foot, and the whole time I could have used the treated dog ear fence posts and sliced those up. These are 8 feet or 6 feet maybe, and they're $2 a piece. So I could have used these sliced up for my outside border, and that would have saved me a fortune too. But just to sum it up, what I did first were my poles, my 4x4 poles. Then I did the 2x4s on the outside. Boom, 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 like that. Put those together. Then I ripped these to 2 inches. See these strips? I ripped 1x4s in half to 2 inches. I installed these on one side all the way around. Then I cut my metal. I put my metal in there and I attached it to the one side. And then I took the 2-inch strips and put them in on the other side and closed it in with my stapler. So you have a rough idea of how I did it. And that was the order that I did it in. When I was shopping around, normal fencing, metal fencing was insanely expensive just for 20 feet. And it was a custom order. It would have taken time to come. So the metal was definitely a budget-friendly time saver. Everything was locally available now. I would recommend it.